anything for you guys. But if at any point you feel like we're ruining it for you, you just shout or throw something.
I won't ruin it. I don't know about you.
I get nervous during this.
By the way, sorry about that. I have to fly to London right after this, but I really wanted to be here for you guys, so we came early.
It's great to have you here. So let's start right off.
So what happens at the end is...
You're known for a lot of very suspenseful, eerie, atmospheric movies, and I think The Visit has all of that, but it also has a very humoristic side. It has a lot of laughs, a lot of humor with the screams. How did that come about?
You know, it was a tone that I kind of heard. I've been in this kind of David Lynchian obsessed place, just kind of like very interested in this kind of weird humor, kind of dark humor. You don't know whether you're supposed to laugh or you're just, shocked at what you're seeing, and kind of the challenge of being able to do that kind of dark humor and keep a real grounded reality to the movie, because otherwise it'll fly off into fantasy, and then we kind of don't take the threat very seriously.
I think they both work very well together in this one. Did it change your approach in making the film, just having that planned out that you wanted to do a little more of that?
It took a long time to get it right. A lot of times when you bring in kind of unnatural things to the table, to maintain that groundedness so that the humor is working. It's like I was trying to explain it today. There's why it's so difficult to do humor and threat together. Scary things together is because to feel threatened, you have to have a ground that makes sense, that it's bouncing off of, wow, this is real people, they're having real emotions, I'm worried for them. But then also humor has to have a ground that they have to match, which is it's very, very difficult to do. It took a long time to edit the movie. You're going to see the Visit, because it's just to get the right tone between the humor and the scares, so that, you'll hopefully, be laughing, and then suddenly you start screaming, and then you'll laugh at your screaming, and then it'll start to mix together till you're doing both and you don't understand what you're feeling.
I think part of what makes it work in The Visit is the great cast. And what struck me the most is the two young actors, and you seem to do that a lot. You work a lot with the trope of family, and you have a lot of young actors in your films. Yeah. So what's special about working with children that you keep doing it again?
I think I'm obsessed by that area of our childhood that almost is gone now, where, it used to be from like 10 to 15 years old, where that area where you're letting go of believing in things, which I find kind of a beautiful, tragic kind of time period. And by the way, why I say it's kind of disappearing is I remember watching E.T. when I was a kid. I was 13 years old, and I was crying in the movie theater. And all the other kids that were 13-year-old were crying as well. Can you imagine a 13-year-old boy crying in a movie theater now? You'd be like, what's wrong with him? But that, we were all, there's a childhood that's gone, from 10 to 15, that was okay to still be a kid, even though you were bigger than a child, and that kind of, how it's been lost is kind of, I'm kind of obsessed by that.
They wouldn't dare today because someone's probably going to take a picture of them, right?
What's this?
They wouldn't dare today because someone's probably going to take a picture of
them crying. Yeah, they'd be like, oh, look at him, look at Zach crying, and then they'd take a picture, post it. But it was really, for me, the cast is, it's like, I sometimes think my movies could be plays, very small cast and isolated environments. And for me, when I was younger, I heard in film school that, directing, Spielberg said directing is 80%, that's casting. And I actually think now that I'm, been doing it for 20 years, that it may be more, that factor. I mean, we do all this other stuff, the visuals and all this other stuff, but it's the art of the casting that's so tricky, because you don't have a vocabulary for choosing. So you'll see two people, and this has happened to me over and over every movie. Two people that you're like, which one is it? I can't tell. They're both so close, but in reality, they're completely different. The one is perfect for the role, and one is totally terrible for the role. You just can't tell the difference because you don't have a fluency with the movie yet. You don't know the language of the movie. It's not speaking to you yet because you've just begun, and yet you have to make the most important decisions of the movie first. For example, would be in Signs with the little girl.
I was going to say careful.
Yeah, with Signs with the little girl who was 5 years old. There were two little girls that were 5 years old, and I couldn't choose. I was like, I can't tell. And then suddenly one of the little girls said something that kind of touched me, and I was like, okay, she's the one. And that was Abigail Breslin, who then went on to become, you know, nominated and all that stuff, and has still leads in movies, and the other one doesn't act. And it seemed like so close, and yet it wasn't close at all. There was one girl that was meant to be an actress for her the rest of her life. But I couldn't tell the difference, and that's what the magic of casting is. You just gotta listen, you know, kind of gotta become fluent before you're fluent. So I'm really proud of the cast, because I spent a lot of time, it was a small movie, spent a lot of time just looking at the auditions and getting these 5 people together.
I think they work, especially the kids, they're hilarious, and as you said before, with your ET experience, they take you on that journey, you know, you follow them through the movie.
Thank you.
And what I think must have been funny on set, actually, is that they work with elders, like a lot more experienced actors. There's a huge generation gap. There's no parent in between them, so there's the kids and the grandparents. How was that on set? How was the atmosphere?
It was great. The two older actors were theater trained actors. I tend to go towards theater trained actors because I do very long takes, and I don't do what's coverage. Do you guys know what coverage is? Coverage is like when you shoot a normal, you know, when you're shooting a normal movie, when this is how they would like you to shoot it. Me and him. His medium shot, my medium shot, his close-up, my close-up, like that. That gives you coverage to see, you know, when we cut the scene, then, oh, maybe he did a good performance, maybe I did a good performance, that kind of thing. But I don't really tend to that philosophy. I'll choose, you know, how the scene is going to be emotionally played and then commit to it. So then my only options are different takes. So it'll do like a movement like this, moving from me to you as you're feeling like, oh, this guy's an asshole, and I'll push in on him, and you know, like that kind of thing. And so to catch that, like he's not listening to me anymore, he's thinking about his girlfriend and all that stuff, so I'll push in on him, and then I'll do 17 takes of that, and he has to give me all different variations of, oh, I think he's an asshole, I'm thinking about my girlfriend, like, and our theater trained actors are very versed in committing emotionally to a take and just going for it. So the 2 actors that played the grandparents are amazing theater actors. Actually, the woman that plays Nana in the movie just won the Tony for Best Actress on Broadway before I hired her. So this is kind of like a real spectrum of experience from the kids that I hired and the 2 olders.
Okay, nice. I guess they just want to see it for themselves, right? Is there anything you want to tell the audience just before we let them into this?
You know what? I don't know, guys, if you know much about The Visit in terms of how it got made. You know, I kind of went away and made the movie on my own.